out that Chauvin is the only police officer ever tried for the killing of a civilian in Minnesota who chose not to take the stand. And only 4 officers ever stood trial in the state for killing a person while on duty. And of those, only 1 was convicted, a black police officer who killed a white man.
Okay, now as we know, it's just very rare for police officers to be convicted in these cases. That's kind of how the law goes. But what about this case?
In this situation, we really don't know what the outcome will be. Chauvin is facing a second-degree unintentional murder charge, a third-degree murder charge, and a third-degree manslaughter charge. The prosecution has to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that Chauvin is guilty, and a lot of legal experts say they've presented a strong case with some 38 witnesses and an incredible amount of haunting video from every angle of George Floyd's last breaths under Chauvin's knee. Now, the defense called 7 witnesses to raise doubt around the cause of death. Was it Chauvin's knee, or as the defense attorney, Eric Nelson, argued, could it have been something else? Drugs, health problems, even carbon monoxide poisoning from the squad car. And so we'll see. The world is watching what will happen in this case, and many civil rights advocates see it as a referendum on race, policing, and accountability for when police kill on the job.
And it is intersecting in time with these other cases. It is this week that the Adam Toledo video is released. It is this week that Daunte Wright is killed during a traffic stop. How is the Wright case, which is not far from you, evolving now?
Yeah, I mean, here outside Minneapolis in Brooklyn Center, the white, now former police officer who killed Wright, a young black man, has been charged with second-degree manslaughter. Wright's family says that's not enough. They want more severe charges. Daunte Wright's mother, Katie Wright, spoke at a press conference, and she said people have asked what they want. They've talked about justice.
But unfortunately, there's never going to be justice for us. The justice would bring our son home to us, knocking on the door with his big smile, coming in the house, sitting down eating dinner with us, going out to lunch, playing with his 1-year-old, almost 2-year-old son, giving him a kiss before he walks out the door. So justice isn't even a word to me.
So she said she wants accountability.
It doesn't sound like the family is satisfied with the police explanation that this was an accidental shoot.
Right. I mean, at the press conference where we heard Katie Wright speaking, civil rights attorney Ben Crump, he's representing the Wright family and the Floyd family, held up a picture of a yellow taser and a Glock 17, which is what killed Daunte Wright. He said it's very difficult for the family to believe that this was an accident, and every day and night we've seen largely peaceful protests and some clashes over this killing.
All right, well, we'll keep listening for your coverage as the case in Minneapolis heads to the jury. Layla, thanks so much.
Thank you, Steve.
And there's Layla Fong.
What does a former federal prosecutor make of all this? George Floyd's killing, Daunte Wright's killing, and now Adam Toledo's killing. We often check in with Paul Butler, who is a professor at Georgetown Law, about race, policing, and the judicial system. He and I talked yesterday. Are police officers punished if somebody like Daunte Wright struggles, gets away, gets in the car, drives off, they don't catch him, he's now out there driving around? Does a theoretical officer Ken Potter go back to the office and get in a ton of trouble?
Not at all, especially in a case like this, where they know who the suspect is, they have his license plate, they know where he lives. There are millions and millions of outstanding warrants in the United States. And every day, police show up at people's homes and arrest them for those outstanding warrants. That procedure could have been followed with Mr. Wright, especially because even the warrant that was outstanding wasn't for a crime of the century. It was for 2 misdemeanors.
I want to ask you a personal question, if you don't mind. We've had you on the show with us before talking about the fear that black men in particular experience living in the United States of America. We know that Daunte Wright's mother has said he was afraid. That was why he struggled. That was why he moved to get away. He was afraid of ending up in the criminal justice system. He was afraid of the cops. Do you walk around with this constant sense of fear?
Yes. I think that any black person who is aware of the news, who knows history, has to be anxious around the police. I'm older. I'm a professional. I'm law-abiding. Whenever I see a cop car behind me, my heart starts beating faster. I don't go to places late at night where I'd have to drive and be on a lonely road where I might be pulled over. I don't want to take the risk. And it's almost like you can't win, because if you do pull over in the dark area where there are not a lot of people, you don't know what's going to happen. And if you don't immediately stop, then you're committing, in addition to whatever traffic infraction, you're committing contempt of cop. And bad officers will make you pay for that. And finally, the concern is that it's so arbitrary. And so that police officers who are racist or biased, they have so much power. And I'll tell you a quick story about how much power. In my class at Georgetown, I have a real life police officer come and talk to my students about what it's like to be a cop in DC. And to demonstrate how much power he has, he plays a game with the students where he invites them to come on a ride along, sit in the back seat of his car for a night. And the game is called Pick That Car. And he tells the student, pick any car you want on the street, and I'll stop it. He's a good cop. He waits until he finds a legal reason, but he says that he can follow any car for 4 or 5 minutes, and he'll find a reason. There's so many traffic infractions that anytime you drive, you commit one. And that gives police an extraordinary amount of power. And we know that they selectively use this power against people.
And if you don't mind my asking, you have just talked about anxiety, fear, the understanding that this is arbitrary, and the understanding that police have an enormous amount of power, and almost everybody out there driving is doing something wrong at any time. What is your response to this, to all of this cascade, this tsunami of consciousness?
I'm a voyager, so in some sense I believe in reform. And I'm an educator, so I believe in the power of learning and knowledge. So there are things that can be done. And one simple fix is that when people commit traffic infractions, the best responders aren't people with guns, because now we see that too often when people with guns are required to respond to minor
usually not that high, but that's why the goal is so much higher. 1,000 pledges from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. is no small feat, and that's why the hourly goals are ambitious, is the word that I think that I could use. So the goal this hour is 300 pledges. 300 pledges in the 8 o'clock hour. So far we have 15 in the door. Now remember, we're ending this pledge drive today. It was supposed to end Monday. As of, midday yesterday, it was ending Monday. We had a conversation. We said there's too much going on in the world. We need to cut this thing short. We need to yield that time back to the journalism and the stories and the news and information that people need. So we made that decision, and we're taking a risk, frankly, right? Like, we probably could raise more revenue if we're here for more days.
Yep.
But we're deciding that we're going to try to do it as much as we can today. That's why it's incumbent upon you to kind of maybe, I guess, understand that risk that we're
Yep.
taking
Yep.
and show your support for it.